brought to you almost live from the Dude in the Basement Studios. Why? Because that's where the good stuff is. It's Sips, Suds, and Smokes with your smoking host, the good old boys. Now it's sippin' time.
Oh yes, it's sippin' time. And welcome to this Sips episode where everything good in life is worth discussing. We are still the best thing on somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 a.m. This is a 1-hour show that is occasionally entertaining for almost a full 20 minutes.
Oh, not even close.
We are still banned in 7 states, including Alabama, thank God, 23 counties, and most recently we've been banned in EU because apparently Brent contains more than the maximum allowable amount of propylene glycol in his system, so you're not allowed in Iceland, and Fireball. I
guess that's CHCHOH for those people that don't know the compound.
Yeah, you're not allowed to, you're not allowed in, man. Well, this is Made Man Bomb, and joining me today are Made Man Brent.
Thanks. I'm always happy to come here for this. Is the one I'm looking forward to. The fall release of the Moonshine Edition.
It's every color of the rainbow. There's purple moonshine and yellow moonshine. And Made Man Maury.
Good morning, Bob. Excited to be here in the usual damp, dark basement.
I like damp, dark places. And good old boy Justin.
Good morning, Bob. The Kentucky Hot Browns were a great touch.
And good old boy Harmeet. Oh, wait, that's right. We kicked him out. He's not here. So he gets to miss the really good stuff.
Oh, darn the luck.
Yeah, heck with him. All right, Brent, Maury, and myself are with the Bourbon Mafia. The Bourbon Mafia is a not-profit organization composed of bourbon enthusiasts and industry professionals. With representation in 8 states, our members combine a love of bourbon with a passion for charitable work. The group uses their love of our native spirit to raise money for local and national charities through rare bottle auctions and other themed events. Check us out on Facebook at The Bourbon Mafia. Our show is also sponsored in part by the Fort Lauderdale Whiskey Society. To find out more about the society and their events, you can visit us at ftlws.com. And we are also sponsored in part by...
Not today.
Well, I'll throw him a bone. Fine Spirits in Cooper City, Florida, home of the non-working enigmatic machines until he gets it fixed, which will eventually serve great wines, whiskeys, and other spirits by the glass. You can find them at www.finespirits.net/my enigmatic machine is broke/ haven't got it fixed.com.
In the meantime, I'll pour you what's around.
You can still get everything by the glass. You just pour it yourself.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I do because he doesn't really pay attention when you're there, so... Our sip segments are all about wine, distilled spirits, tea, coffee, propylene glycol, Gatorade, and everything else we can drink. And today's show is our first show on some of the fall releases and new expressions from some of our favorite distilleries. And here's some of the whiskeys we're going to be tasting today. We have the Weller Foolproof Bourbon. We have Colonel E.H. Taylor Amaranth Bourbon Whiskey. From Old Forester, we have the 2019 Birthday Bourbon. From George Remus, we have the Remus Repeal Reserve Series 3. And from Four Roses, we have the 2019 Small Batch Limited Edition. And against my better judgment, we're going to have...
It was not good judgment at all.
Yeah, we're going to have Justin do the sips ratings. All right.
And his finest, what accent today?
Today will be a Kentucky accent.
Oh, God, dear God, save us.
We're going to be banned in Kentucky now.
Before he speaks, I just want everyone in Kentucky to know that I had nothing to do with this, and this represents only the opinions of Justin and not necessarily that of any other sane person, so please don't let us get banned. So, all right, go ahead.
1 sip. Give me a glass of water to wash out my mouth.
I'm not feeling it. I mean, usually when I go to Kentucky, the accent I have is you can't sleep here, you drunk it. Never mind.
2 sips. Nice. But what else do you have?
Well, isn't that nice?
3 sips. Interesting. What was this again?
Interesting.
4 sips. Let's keep this secret to ourselves. Pour me another.
That's classified.
5 sips. Oh my, I was unaware anything could be this good.
Oh my goodness!
Yes! 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 Yes!
Yes, we are
certainly-
banned in Kentucky now. I understand why.
Luckily, we're on radio. They don't know what we look like.
I thought he was certainly better than the Drunken Leprechaun.
Oh, definitely better. That was a better one.
I give him kudos for that.
Better than that Scotsman that he did earlier today. Good God.
Much better.
It's like a Scotsman on crack and bath salts all at the same time. It's like, this is what a Scotsman sounds like after dropping 2 tabs of acid and, filling his mouth with rocks.
But sometimes that happens in Glasgow.
It was that. What happens in Glasgow stays in Glasgow. All right. Well, thanks, I guess, for that. Okay. Yeah, well, historically, fall is the time when a lot of American distilleries put out some of their limited edition bottles or introduce new expressions or new labels, and we have a great group of whiskeys to try and discuss today. So we're going to have Brent tell us about our first whiskey. So take it away.
I was fooled again. You guys fooled me once again. But our first product is the Weller Foolproof Bourbon, 57% ABV, 114 proof. This is the newest expression from the W.L. Weller line of wheated bourbons. It was created in answer to fans.
All right.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about Weller at higher proof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was created in answer to the fans asking for higher proof and fuller flavored bourbon. I didn't think anything was wrong with the other stuff, but,
Not the Weller. There was nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, I know. It's so the Weller Full Proof is bottled at the same 114 proof the spirit was when it entered into the barrel, hence the name Full Proof, and is non-chill filtered. So they put it in at 114 and they bring it out and they bring it down to 114 when it's done. It's been similar things have been done by other places.
Well, there was nothing wrong with regular Weller, but
Yeah,
These go to 11.
see.
that's right. First thing when you're on the nose, you get vanilla and dark cherries. This is a nice copper color to it. Like we'd like to say, brown, right? Brown.
Brown.
Going
with brown.
It's all brown. Brown water.
A lovely burnished bronze.
Burnished bronze. Burnished bronze.
Let's get wordy.
Yeah. The on the palate, it's a nice creamy mouthfeel. I get the caramel. I get some baking spice. I get pepper, creme brulee. Then that oakiness comes through in it, and it's beautiful. It's a great mouthfeel. Now I understand why the people are saying, "Hey, we want something a little bit more," because this is a little bit more than what they had. The finish is long. It's everything a Weller is that you're used to having,
And more.
and more. You know, they when somebody asks for something, we want something more, and there's just this Full Proof. It's actually it.
I agree with you, Brent. I think they did a great job. I think that it's easy to mess up something good, but this is amped up Weller. It's everything you know and love about Weller with a little more. I love everything you said about the flavor profile, the nose, the palate, the finish. It's definitely creamy and luscious on the palate. It's not hot at all by any stretch, and it's just delicious.
It's just beautiful. The finish long.
The real question will be, will the average Joe be able to find it? Will any of us be able to find it?
We can't find a lot of the other
We
products.
don't know
and
what
so,
the availability is going to be like, but it's
yeah, I think they're only.
if you can find it, buy it. It's delicious.
I think their downfall is not able to. It's going to be out there, but the most common Joe is not going to be able to run into this and say, "Oh, give me that."
At least not for a while.
Well, yeah, it's used to be you walk into the store and there'd be cases and cases of Weller 12 just sitting there, and now you go in there and you have to give somebody throw a 20 in their pocket or something, and before they let you have something, it's gotten really bad, So that's what they need to fix. Is they need to fix the getting it to the average person.
The distribution system's
Right.
challenging.
It is
Ongoing issue.
Justin,
It's like scalping tickets.
what do you
So-
think about this one?
The closest comparison I can make to this spirit is the Weller Antique 107. But the difference between this spirit and that spirit is this spirit, it's foolproof, but it tastes younger than the old Weller Antique does to me. It's more similar to Weller 12, but just hotter.
Some of the 107s that are non-chilled filtered that you can get, the barrel picks that are non-chilled filtered, are close to this.
Yeah.
This one is still, I still like it
implying?
more. Yeah. Bob, what are your thoughts on this one?
Well,
Don't give me attitude, sir.
yeah. I think this is wonderful. I think, again, this is Weller turned to 11. It's not, I mean, it's not like it's going from, 90 proof to 140 proof, but coming back out at the 114, the flavor is just so much more amped up. And when we tasted it, the first thing I said is that all Weller should be foolproof. All Weller should be foolproof.
Yeah.
And I love Weller 12. I love Antique. I keep a bunker of both of them because I'm always scared to death that something's going to happen and the supply is going to disappear. But this one, I found my new jam. If I could get my hands on it regularly,
That's the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
This would be my daily, So that's, I mean, the flavor, everything that you want in a Weller is there. It's dark cherries and vanilla and just toasted oak and a little bit of that creaminess, like Maury said. It's mouth coating, a little bit of sort of more like a dark, almost bitter chocolate on the back palate, and the finish on it just goes on and on. So
It doesn't stop.
yeah, I mean, this is.
It's hard. You
There's
can't
nothing wrong
tell
to
them.
say about this. I mean,
Right. You can't tell them, hey, make more because, they're making as much as they can. It's.
Well, we're going to rate the Weller Foolproof 4 sips, and we'll be back.
Classified.
And we're back, and we just finished talking about the Weller Foolproof bourbon. Stunningly good example. God, I love the fall. And we are moving on to our next whiskey. So we're going to have Justin tell us about that one.
All right. Our next spirit is Colonel E.H. Taylor Amaranth Bourbon Whiskey. It's 50% alcohol by volume, 100 proof. The Colonel E.H. Taylor collection was first introduced by Buffalo Trace back in 2011. Some of the earlier releases, such as the E.H. Taylor Small Batch, Single Barrel, and Straight Rye, are ongoing permanent expressions in the product line, whereas some releases like this one are a one-time only limited bottling. Named in honor of Colonel Edmund Haynes Taylor Jr.,
And he got that all out. I'm impressed.
the man responsible for building what is now the Buffalo Trace Distillery and the passage of the Bottled in Bond Act. All E.H. Taylors are bottled in bond.
I think there's actually the only one that's not is the single barrel. Because that varies.
Right.
Because
Other
single
than
barrels
all of them are bottled in bond.
The E.H. Taylor Amaranth Bourbon was created using amaranth as a flavoring grain, rather than the traditional rye or wheat. Amaranth was originally cultivated by the Aztecs and is known as grain of the gods. This ancient grain is similar to wheat, but offers a complex taste with subtle flavors ranging from a nose of butterscotch and spearmint to a finish of pecans and dark berries. I found that the color of this spirit was a light brown. The nose is complex.
Everything's brown.
Brown.
it's got brown eyes.
Brown.
Vanilla and raisins. On the palate, I got dark cherries. It was a very fruity spirit. And, kind of reminded me of candies. And it was a really long finish. And I thought it was interesting. Brent,
So tell me about the color of this whiskey again, could you?
light brown.
Are you sure?
I
Yeah,
want you
sure.
to feel like you can tell me anything, okay?
Are you sure? Okay, brown. Okay.
What'd you think, Brent?
Yeah. When we get back with the bottle the bottle and bond, I think the barrel proof is not as another one that's not.
Yeah.
But all the other expressions that they came up with, I believe, are bottled in bond. But yeah, this is, it's got that dark copper color. I don't think there's anything brown in there, but yeah. On the nose, you get cinnamon, leather, plum. It's a little bit fruity there. There's nothing wrong with that. On the palate, I got spearmint, butterscotch, some white peppers, cherries, plums, leather. It's a nice mouthfeel. I think I've had better expressions of the E.H. Taylor products, but this one is a solid product. It's got a nice finish to it. It's not the worst one I've had. It's not the best one I've had, but it's solid.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's Harlan. It's Harlan Wheatley.
Right.
The man loves to experiment.
You have to bring something different to the table.
He's like the Dr.
times.
Bill Lumsden of Kentucky. He's constantly doing things like this, and there are tens of thousands of barrels they have with things just like this. So, this was a shot. Let's give it a shot. And again, like you said, it is. I've had better expressions. I've had worse expressions. I think it's a very solid whiskey. It's very interesting when they do something like this, where you're trying a different grain, particularly a grain that most people have never even heard of, didn't even know existed. But I will say this one, for me, the nose is completely different than the palate. When you smell that and then you taste it, it's like you've moved to a completely different whiskey. There's it's all butterscotchy on the nose, and they say that that's the notes that they're getting from the Amaranth. And if they are, wow, they should throw some of that in pretty much every one that they do if they can get that kind of a nose out of it. The nose is stunning. On this one, it's just the oak on it was huge. There was a good bit of oak, good bit of tannin on it. I got just a slight bit of spearmint on the back palate, vanilla and caramel. I mean, a solid whiskey and a very, very, I found very interesting one. And things like this I love because I like to get them and just, put them up on the shelf so I can always go back to them and just see the different things.
This would be interesting in a mixed cocktail, something like that. It would really, I think, change the cocktail without, just give it a little bit something different to it.
Just make a really good old fashioned.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
oh, for sure.
Well, I think there's really nothing wrong with this. I think this is great. It's interesting. It's a little bit different. I love the fact that they've picked a grain that most people have never heard of. It's extremely well made. I mean, I just have nothing bad to say about it.
The more it grows on me too.
Yeah. It's adding a little water was nice to it. It didn't.
It's definitely got more fruit than most H. Taylors. It's definitely a fruitier whiskey.
You get that caramel bomb butterscotch on the nose, and you're sort of expecting the corresponding flavors that you normally get with a bourbon that smells like that, but you're getting more of the fruity, and then I'm getting the big wood on it, but you're also getting the fruit and the sweetness. So it's
you get that cherries and plums.
It's very surprising.
It's a weird combination.
Yeah, it's very surprising. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
it was interesting. I always like one that kind of fools you. So that this one definitely messes with your head a little bit. So we're going to be rating the E.H. Taylor Amaranth Bourbon Whiskey 3 sips.
Interesting.
All right, so we're going to be moving on to our next one, and we're going to have Maury tell us about that one.
Thank you, Bob. The next whiskey is the Old Forester 2019 Birthday Bourbon at 52% ABV or 105 proof. The mash bill is 72% corn, 18% rye, 10% malted barley. A total of 13,200 bottles were released or will be released. The 18th annual release of the Old Forester Birthday Bourbon was made from a total of 120 barrels distilled on May 15th, 2008, and aged on the second floor of Warehouse I. The 2019 edition of the Old Forester Birthday Bourbon is the highest proof release to date, and the number of barrels used, 120, represents 1 day's production of Old Forester. So every barrel produced on that day, May 15th, was put away, and here we have it.
I was there that day.
I bet you were.
I was there that day. I was walking through the fermenters. I accidentally dropped my phone in one of them, but never mind. Tastes a little Nokia-like. I'm just saying.
There you go.
It's interesting that they all come from the same day. You know, that it's just
that they could do that.
Yeah.
Well, it kind of makes sense too, because you're going to have very similar profiles. They're probably putting them in a all of those are going in one spot in one rick house. So it's probably easier to maintain the consistency that way.
Yeah. Beautiful copper to bronzy color. I love the color. It's deep and dark. The nose is wonderful. Butterscotch and toffee are definitely dominated. There's definitely a little bit of melon and just a hint of corn on the nose, or cornbread. It's got a beautiful nose. On the palate, rich oak spice, warmth, some light maple, caramel. There's definitely some floral notes on the nose as well, not so much on the palate. And then it's just beautiful. It's beautifully made. It's viscous. It's mouth coating. It's luscious. It's just decadent and got layers and layers with a finish that just goes on and on. Birthday Bourbon almost never disappoints, and this one's no exception. It's gotten incredibly hard to find. In the old days, you'd be able to find a dusty bottle that just sat on the shelf, but nowadays it disappears pretty much the instant it hits the retail market, which is sort of a shame. But there are some pretty good whiskey bars that seem to get some bottles in, and probably the best bet for the average person is go to a good whiskey bar where a lot of people can partake in the same bottle.
They won't let you in a good whiskey bar. I know you.
Well, not me, but anybody else.
But most of the people listening, maybe they can get in.
Right.
Yeah, he tries.
That's why Maury drinks here.
Well, he tries to go into the bar, and the guy just looks at him, and
Take your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape!
I don't know. That's just that was the last time. What'd you think, Brent?
This is nice. All the birthday bourbons are very unique to each other. They never seem to mirror any one of them in any given year. The first thing I noticed on this one, for the nose, was extremely floral.
Yeah,
it was floral, and then I got the butterscotch on it and stuff. And then when I got to the palate, it was a nice mouthfeel. It was oak and peppers. I got some dry cocoa. And finished it off. The finish was just nice, long finish, and it's like a maple on that finish that just really kind of like blends it all together, just like mellows it all out and puts it all there. I really enjoyed it. I mean, I can't be happier with it. This is probably one of my favorite birthday bourbon picks that I've had, of all the years that we've done this and stuff. So, Justin?
What'd you think, Justin?
The maple note was definitely prominent. Kind of reminded me of red velvet cake with buttercream frosting. But, if it was a bourbon and not overly sweet, because it's not overly sweet. It's really well made. It's really different than the last couple of years of old birthday bourbon releases. You never know what you're going to get, but you're going to be happy with the prize in this box. What'd you think, Bob?
It's going in my mental catalog of the last several years worth of birthday bourbons, and there have been years that I enjoyed more than others. I mean, it's always a solid one. I don't think I've ever had a bad year ever.
Yeah. You like to get a few years together, like 3 or 4 years together, and blind taste them once in a while, just to find out, which one you really enjoyed, because it's hard to remember when you go back a year or 2 years, like, oh, what were the notes of that again that I liked or whatever? And so
what's hard is to get a vertical of them. It's hard to store them because the bottles are very uniquely shaped and they're very very wide.
Uniquely shaped,
so they take up a lot of room on the shelf.
Uniquely shaped is the word there.
They're short, but they're real wide. I mean, it's a cool bottle. It looks like a ship's decanter, but it's hard. They take up a lot of real estate on your shelf in the closet. So, but yeah, going back in my head through the last several years of these, I've got to say this one is definitely, the last 3 or 4 years, is without a doubt my favorite. Oddly enough, it's also the highest proof, but that really, it's by a few points.
Odd coincidence.
Negligible.
Yeah, just an odd coincidence there, so.
It's like a floral bomb on the nose.
That's what got me right off the bat, was how floral it was.
Yeah, and it's a bat to the teeth. on the palate. So it's it sneaks up on you. You get that flowery, beautiful nose on it. The butterscotch, it's like walking into a flower shop, and then once you take a sip, hold on. Once you take a sip, it's just boom. I mean, the oak is there, but it's not drying. The spice is there. I get a little bit of berry in the mid palate. You get that maple syrupy kind of sweetness to it. And it's just so mouth coating. It goes all around, under the tongue, over the tongue, the roof of the mouth, down the throat. And the finish on it is just stays with you.
Oh yeah.
They did a good one this year. They did a really good one this year.
It's going to be hard to have a backup on this one. It's going to be hard to get a first one to have to even have a backup.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's horrible. And anyone listening to this should never buy one of these.
Right.
And if you get one gifted to you by accident, you can ship it to Sips, Suds, and Smokes, care of. But yeah, I mean, this is every year I look forward to the birthday bourbon. And like Maury said, 10 years ago, 12 years ago, they would come and you would go to a liquor store and you might find this year's and last year's and maybe even like one left over from the year before. They did not fly off the shelves. But with, the boom in popularity of bourbon and the collectors hoarding stuff, this was the one fall release that I could always count on. In my head, it's like, okay, can I get this? Maybe. Can I get that if I call in a favor? I could always count on getting a birthday bourbon.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. So
all these
if you
people
see
chasing
one,
them,
absolutely grab it with both hands and don't let it go.
And open it.
Don't collect it.
Don't
That's not
open
what
the
they're
thing.
for.
This one needs to be opened.
Oh, this one absolutely needs to be open. You take this, put it up on the shelf, and put it on a little pedestal with a little light on it or something. I will. I may come to your house with Samuel L. Jackson and beat your backside.
Right. I may come there with the little bell and stuff. Shame.
Sorry, I don't have that one queued up, but I might have to get hostile with you if you just hoard this and don't drink it.
Yeah.
This one was lovely, and we're going to be rating the birthday bourbon for this year. 5 sips.
Yes!
All right, so we are on to our next whiskey. It's almost not fair to be after that one. So the next one that we've got is the George Remus, the Remus Repeal Reserve. This is Series 3. It's a third annual release of this one. It's 50% ABV, 100 proof. The annual limited release from MGP. This is MGP's brand. It was named after George Remus. He was the self-proclaimed king of the bootleggers and inspiration for The Great Gatsby. And it'll hit shelves on November 13th, George Remus's birthday. This year's release is a medley of 2 different mash bills. It's made up 12% of it is 2007 bourbon, which had 21% rye in the mash bill. 78% is 2008 bourbon with a 21% rye mash bill. And 10% is 2008 bourbon with a 36% rye mash bill. So let me grab the right one. On the nose, you're getting... Oh, this one's changed since we've opened it. It's definitely changed.
But what color brown is it?
It's a brown. Yeah.
Copper brown.
This is like an old penny brown. It sort of more brownish than coppery. It's got a little bit of gold around the edges, but it's got a beautiful color on it.
It's dark. This is darker than all the rest of them that we have.
Yes.
Today.
Yeah, it's got a really nice nose to it. I'm getting get old worn leather. I get a little hint of melon, just in the tip of the nose, and I think that one that I couldn't identify. I think it's straw, like in a hayloft. So it's beautiful nose on the palate. Hold on. I love this job. Again, like one of the earlier ones that we had, the nose and the palate are entirely different. On this, when I drink it, I'm getting a huge bit of mint, and I'm getting a softer note of almost like a milk chocolate. So for me, this one is almost like it's like eating a junior mint. It's very, very, very bright, almost a spearminty mint to it. Very interesting. It's got great body to it. It's got a pretty good finish. I mean, it's hanging in there. A little bit dry toward the back of the tongue and the sides of the palate after you swallow. But overall, a really nice expression. We've tried all of the Remuses. They've been kind enough to send us all three of them each year. They send us one. We actually have last year's that we're going to talk about after this one, but definitely interesting. Each year has been very different. This one is very different than last year. What do you think, Brent?
Well, the first time after we opened this up, on the nose, what got me was like cantaloupe and pepper. You know, like when I like to sit down, I like to cut open a cantaloupe and put a little bit of pepper on it to eat it. That's exactly what this nose smelled like to me. You know, and it was just like, oh my God, that's exactly what exactly what I'm smelling here. And now it's changed up quite a bit. Like you said, after it sat here for an hour in the glass,
I know
it's
the
changed.
people at home are thinking cantaloupe and pepper. He used to eat it with ketchup, so
Yeah.
I was thinking the same damn thing.
And we're back, and we are discussing the Remus Repeal Reserve from MGP Products out of Indiana. This is the third in the series. And Brent was just telling us how he has some bizarre way that he eats melon. So
Well, it's the way a lot of people like to enjoy it, you know, but
a lot meaning him. Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
I consider 3 a lot. You know?
Me, myself,
To
and
yourself
I.
and you?
Yeah.
Me. Right, you know, but
Again, it used to be ketchup, so he's getting better.
you know, yeah.
Let me tell you, the ketchup on the
Right.
cantaloupe was creepy.
But this is very front forward on your palate.
Yeah, it's very front
It's
forward.
not, this one is not like the whole
Yeah, it's
entire
tip and
mouthfeel.
sides,
Yeah, it's very much on the front of your palate. So you've got that light spice. You get, you know, hints of mint, well, a lot of mint, you know, and vanilla. And then, you know, with the pepper. But, you know, even with the finish, the whole finish is just front forward on your palate. You don't get that lingering finish that creeps down the back of your throat. It doesn't happen with this one, but doesn't mean that it's not enjoyable. You know, it still is.
It's just different.
It's
just
right.
a different whiskey.
Right, entirely different whiskey.
Well, what do you think, Justin?
I thought that if I hadn't read the mash bill about the percentage of rye, I would think this would be predominantly rye because it was very rye forward. It was delicious. And the heat on the back end of it was a lot of fun. What do you think, Maury?
Well, I actually disagree. I thought it was low rye. I thought it was almost had a character of a wheated bourbon, and so I was a little bit surprised by one of the high rye mash bills that was in here. Again, I think it's
well, you know, that's just like your opinion, man.
I mean, it's a beautiful whiskey. I'm not sure where the melon and the pepper thing comes in. I'm going to not even touch that, except to say that I thought it's a nice whiskey. It's easy drinking. Like everything coming out of MGP, there's hardly a bad expression. I liked it.
Yeah, I thought it was really well done. It was, again, the thing I like about theirs is every year it's different. You know, it's, you know, sometimes you get expressions and a new one comes out every year and they're very similar. You know, there's not a lot of variation, and
That's tough to do for some of these master distillers, like where they have to put out the same product year after year after year, and you want whatever you put out this year to taste the same as what it did 10 years ago.
Well, that's it. You spend 364 days a year trying to make everything taste the same every single day.
Every single day.
And then one day you're making one small batch and you go, okay, let's make this one taste different. So that's hard.
It's a challenge.
That's
Huge
definitely-
challenge.
Yeah, it is, so.
But
It's got to be a respite for palate fatigue,
But
though.
at the same token, if you're at MGP and they're making, different whiskeys and they're contract distilling for some folks, and, it's a huge distillery. I was fortunate to go up there and visit it this past winter. They've got a pretty deep library of stuff in there that they can pull from. So I think that probably helps them to do it. But yeah, each year it's very, very different. So we're going to rate the Remus Repeal Reserve, 3 sips.
Interesting.
And actually, I'm going to take a sip of the Remus Repeal too, just so I can compare the two, because I happen to still have a bottle of it here. So that one was, whereas this one was 3 different mash bills. This one was 4. Also 2007 and 2008 bourbons. This one was about half the lower rye, the 21% rye, and about half of it was, well, let me see. About a third high rye and about 2/3 low rye. But this one was a little more traditional, I think.
Very much more.
And a lot creamier. Although I got to tell you, when they first came out of the bottle, they were fairly similar.
Yeah.
But with air, they've really differentiated themselves.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's why I'm enjoying it, because I like both of them a lot.
Yeah, the two is a much more of a whole mouthfeel versus
creamy, viscous.
Well, it's more of
exactly.
It's more what I would call the
three,
the classic bourbon profile.
Exactly, where the 3 is very front forward on your palate, the 2 is more coat your palate.
Yeah, it's more of the classic sort of profile. It's a little more of the brown sugar and the vanilla. But also, very good whiskey. I think we rated it the same as when we did this last year as we did this year's. But it's just really, I love it when we have some left over when we're doing shows like this.
Okay. So the way you tell the difference, if you're going to a store and you're looking for it to buy it, is on the neck label. It has the 1, the 2, and the 3.
Yeah.
That's the way you can tell the difference. So if you just look at the regular label, it all looks the same. So you check the neck label out is what you want to do.
Probably don't have to get that approved through ATF.
That's what we have to do with Brent. We have to check his neck label as well.
Oh, yeah.
On the back, it tattooed on the back of his neck says, "If found drunk somewhere, drop in mailbox, will guarantee postage."
It works.
This is true. All right, well, we're going to move on to our last whiskey, and we're going to have Brent tell us all about that one.
Thanks, Bob. This is our last one today, sadly. You couldn't have another lineup and just keep going with more and more like some of the ones we've already had?
Yeah, but I don't like you guys that much. You're lucky I even let you do these.
So this is...
Like I told you, there's a couple here that I thought very seriously. I might just tell you I didn't get them this year and just keep them myself like Gollum sitting in the corner hoarding them, calling my precious.
Yeah, this last one, this is the Four Roses 2019 limited edition small batch, 56.3 ABV. It's 112.6 proof. Ooh, yeah. It's nice up there. They sent this to you in a beautiful box. Personalized, everything. Came with a little glass, little literature.
Oh, it's
and all
got
that
my
stuff.
name on the inside. It says,
I know it. It says,
"To whom it may concern."
Yes,
awesome.
yes. I didn't know you changed your name to whom it may concern.
Oh, I did quite a while ago. Yeah.
It really helped him with getting all the wills.
Yeah.
So this is every year. This is always one of the most sought after releases, year after year after year, and I'm sure this year it's going to be no exception. But the 2019 edition of the Four Roses limited edition small batch is made up of a blend of 11-year-old OESV, 15-year-old OESV, 15-year-old OESK, and 21. Whoa, did I read that right? 21-year-old OBSV.
21-year-old high rye. Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple microliters of that.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to go far.
Yeah, so I don't know how much stock they have of that 21-year-old, and I don't know how much of it is in here. I don't know the blend,
I can tell you how much they'd have if they let me in there with a credit card. The answer would be 0.
But
Guys
but
come
what it
here
has,
and find me bathing in it. So.
Yeah, a nice burnished copper color. It's beautiful to look at. It's got great legs on it. On the nose, I get some berries and vanilla right off the bat. Berries and vanilla, a little bit of oak, not much, but mostly the berries and vanilla. The palate just coats your entire palate. It's beautiful. I mean, everything. It coats everything, your entire mouth, everything. It's got that oak, the baking spices.
You're pouring it down your pants, so I know it's something that's coated.
I know that. The cherries. Gross. It's got cherries, vanilla, honey, pepper. The finish, it won't quit. I tried to make it stop. It won't stop. I don't even know. This is just a beautiful expression. You know, the one that people that try to blend these on the, on this, they like, oh, I want to make my own limited edition this year. And so they go out and they get the different recipes and they put them together and stuff.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah.
Try replicating a 21-year-old.
You ain't ever going to blend this one.
Yeah, good luck. Yeah, throw an old wog in it for 6 months. You might get some of that flavor out of it.
Staves
I don't know.
in a small barrel and a whole lot of hope.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Justin, what 3 words do you have for this one?
Well,
okay, thank you.
It is
drink,
good,
but
it is brown.
You could also use it
nice
as a cologne because this stuff smells great. And the V yeast really did this one a lot of favors. Like everyone else, I don't know the proportion of the 4 mash bills, but 3 of the 4 have the the V yeast, and it's outstanding. And the finish just keeps going and going and going. Wow. What'd you think, Maury?
That's the most words we've got out of him in about 6 months.
I know. After that long, wordy description, I'm going to have a hard time following it up.
You could try.
Well, let me say this. This has become another one that was easy to get, sat on the shelf, and now in the last 5 years, you can't even find it. And the retailers are even starting to charge secondary pricing when they do get it.
They started years ago.
1 or 2 bottles, yeah.
But I know one that does, but I won't talk about people when they're not in the
you
same
shouldn't
room.
talk about him when he's not here.
Yeah, that's true.
So the pricing has gotten out of hand, and the availability has gotten very difficult, which is a shame because this is really some of my favorite stuff coming out of Four Roses year after year after year. It's just always freaking delicious. It's just really well made. Thank you.
Thank you, sweet angels. Thank you.
Yes. So those angels have taken just a little hint of bourbon and left some amazing stuff in the glass for us. I can't really add much more to what Brent has said in terms of flavor profile, except to say that it's just really perfect in every way. There's really nothing wrong with this bourbon.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Well, the problem is that they make these limited editions, and it's like you want them to make like 10, 20. I mean, like just like so much more, and it's. I know it's impossible because they're limited stock or whatever.
Is this your daily drinker in heaven, Brent?
But yeah, exactly. It's you want these things. So. Even a lot of the blend, these barrel picks that these guys come up with, they don't compare to some of these limited editions,
Yeah, honestly, this has really become my most
and they're great
favorite sought after expression.
Yeah.
Of Four Roses is the small batch LE every year. The rest of the stuff is great. It's always really good. There's nothing wrong with Four Roses.
This one goes around with my 2012 one. That's a really nice one. Oh. I hate telling people to compare it to that, but wow.
It's good to know they can still make stuff that great.
Well, they are making stuff that great. They look at all the different recipes
they've never
have.
Stopped, yeah.
Yeah, look at all the different recipes they have, the things they're able to do, the ones they're able to choose from to blend them together. You got to love that the master distiller's job there, that, what he has available to him. What creation can I make today? And they just continue to do it over and over and over again. It's not they're not a one-hit wonder by any means because they've been around for so long and they always do it every year.
Yeah. Well, it's a tribute to Jim Rutledge, who had the confidence in the brand and brought them back, and Brent Elliott, who took over the helm and has been going full speed ahead since he took in. I don't know.
And really, he's a rock star.
He's killing it.
I mean, Brent Elliott was a super nice guy from day one, but we really didn't know what he was capable of. And I think he's really proven that he is capable of taking the torch and carrying it forward, and has really done a phenomenal job.
He really has. Plus his name is Brent. How can you go wrong there?
Well, when I go on my phone
you can
and
remember
I hit
your
contacts,
name, Brent.
it's alphabetized by first name, and he actually his number comes up before yours.
Yeah.
So But yeah, I mean, I picked this glass up, and it's just.
My mind is a raging torrent, flooded with rivulets of thought, cascading into a waterfall of creative alternatives.
Yeah, exactly. It's so pretty. It's just.
You're so pretty.
With that V yeast, that's where you're getting all those berries.
Yeah.
I mean, that just. It's like a fruit salad. Yummy, yummy. Sorry. Ooh, I had kids. Sorry for the Wiggles reference. It's just on the nose. It's just all berries and a little bit of vanilla and just sweetness. And then just this beautiful undertone of oak underneath it. Just this beautiful floor of oak that it's all sitting on. And on the palate, it's just, It's just cinnamon and baking spices. And the oak really comes through, and it's huge, but it's not overpowering. It's big,
well balanced,
but it's
very,
not
yeah.
tannic. It's not drying. Whereas usually you get an older bourbon, and all you taste is dry, bitter wood. It's huge oak, but it's not cloying. It's not dry. It's not tannic. It's not bitter. It's just everything that you want out of big old whiskey, without all the negatives on it.
Yeah.
It's just it's
They took
so
risks
well
and
done.
they all won.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just
like,
so well
okay,
done.
what's like, what's next? What's next? Come on. Give me the next one. I'm ready for it.
I'm still enjoying this one, but that's okay.
Oh, okay. Well, the next one's Fireball. So
Fireball.
yes,
I'm ready for it.
Fireball
I don't,
limited.
I'll tell you this right now.
It's a barrel
I
pick of
believe they could
Fireball,
take
though.
and make a Fireball whiskey taste really, really good.
Yeah, it's a 55-gallon drum of Fireball. It's the party pack. It comes
Yes.
with straps, so you can just carry it over your shoulder to the beach.
I'm ready for
Oh
it.
Lord, yeah. It's every year. I look forward to the ones we do in the fall, and I look forward to all of these and the ones that we're going to be doing in the very near future. But the Four Roses has never disappointed. Neither has the Old Forester, and honestly, the Remus is always good every year. That Weller Foolproof was stunning. But yeah, it's a good time of the year, folks, and we're going to rate the limited edition small batch Four Roses 5 sips.
Oh my goodness!
Yes! 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 Yes!
Well, that's all the time we have for today. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and you can catch all of our episodes where you found this one, as well as on terrestrial and satellite radio, and online at iTunes, Acast, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, SoundCloud, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube, PRX, and every other place online where you can find a podcast. The easiest way to find this show on your phone is to ask Alexa, Siri, or Google, play podcast Sips, Suds, and Smokes. We love your feedback, and you can reach us online at info@sipsudsandsmokes.com. Our daily tasting notes float on Twitter every day at SipSudSmoke, and our Facebook page is always buzzing with lots of news. You'll also be able to interact with the thousands of other fans on those social media platforms. Do us a favor and take the time to rate this episode if you're listening to us online. It's a big help to us, and we get to see your feedback as well. I want to thank our co-hosts for joining us. Thank you, Brent.
Okay, thank you. I realize it wasn't moonshine, but I really, really did enjoy it anyway. So.
Well, I don't know what to tell you. You're never going to get that lime green moonshine that we had in Louisville that one time ever again. Just get over it.
That's never going to be duplicated on any level.
Thank God. Thank you, Maury.
Bob, can't thank you enough for what a great day in the basement. I love this time of year. Pumpkin spice lattes everywhere, and some of the best bourbons coming out. So
Pumpkin spice spam.
Pumpkin spice, anything you name.
Excuse me while I stab the two of them. And thank you, Justin.
Thank you, Bob. Going to send a big Kentucky hug out from all of us to all of you this fall bourbon release season.
And this is Made Man Bob for Sips, Suds, and Smokes. I want to thank you for joining us. And remember, life is too short to drink bad whiskey, which is not a problem today.
Yeah.
So
you didn't bring out any bad whiskey.
All right, hey. All right, good job, guys. Let's just not come in tomorrow. Let's just take a day.
This has been a One Tan Hand production of Sips, Suds, and Smokes, a program devoted to the appreciation of some of the finer slices of life. From the Dude in the Basement Studios, your hosts, the Good Old Boys, will see y'all next time.